So in this video, we're going to get a few more controls in Substance to do some advanced stuff, and we'll figure out how to get things out here to bring into Unreal. So right now I have this table. It just has the one layer with the cherry on it. But I said earlier, I might not want cherry to be, maybe I just want a wooden top, but maybe it has metal legs or something like that. But we ran into that problem where everything was getting that texture, even though I painted over it. So if I want to remove parts of it, I need to use something called a mask. And this is going to be what shows up and what doesn't. Generally, anything in our mask that's black won't show up. Anything in our mask that's white will show up. So check this out. I'm going to right click on the layer, and you might see it has something here called add white mask and add black mask. And all this depends on is if we want to have it where we're choosing things to add or choosing things to get rid of. I'm going to add white mask, and that's not really going to do anything. So you can see now, and for people who know Photoshop, this should look familiar. We have basically the texture, and then next to it will show us everything. Now I'm going to need to then tell it, I could go and paint what is showing or what isn't showing up. So I have a paintbrush right now, and you can see the properties are white and black. So if I choose black and just sort of paint in here, you'll notice that I'm basically painting out the texture. So I can paint out from the mask. That's not that great though. What if I want to do something more like just more general and just take all the table legs out? I'm going to switch to this tool here, which is the polygon fill. And I'm going to make sure that I'm painting black. Black will be getting rid of stuff. And now check this out. When I go drag over here, all of a sudden the UV map shows up, and I can just click and drag and deselect. In fact, did I get those? Yeah. And I just deselected all my table legs. Pretty straightforward. So again, I'm going to do this once again here in a second. And so right now I'm painting in the mask. If I wanted to make sure I was painting the table, I just have to make sure I'm clicked on tabletop. Let's add some metal now for the table legs. Maybe I'll just stick with the smart materials, and let's have kind of like a grainy iron. That looks great. I don't know about this raw iron. I like something a little dirty. Now we have this raw iron, and I just want to make sure, I think we're okay, but just in case it was setting a texture, putting any texture on the top, I don't think it's messing up. It's messing up the top a little bit. It's super subtle. I think it's fine, but just in case it was something worse, we're going to want to do the same thing again and make sure the texture is only on the table leg. So I'm going to right click this, and I'll click add white mask, or I can do the opposite too. Maybe we'll do the opposite and just add the table legs. So I'll do add black mask, which now means nothing is showing up. Again, the mask, anywhere where it's black on the mask doesn't show up. Anywhere where it's white, it does. And I'm using this tool to go back. I can see I'm adding white, and I can just go back and select those table legs. And I can do it a bit at a time too. Or if I screw up and accidentally get say if I went here and accidentally got the tabletop, oh yeah, you can't really see it because the one on top is there. So pretty cool. We're able to get a table, and I can now go and say, let's add. It's like, what do I want to add to this? Well, maybe we'll just stick with these. I was gonna say I could go and add another layer to make some cool stuff. There's add mask, all kinds of stuff. I could go here and add a layer and add a paint layer to then go and add my scratches again and all that stuff. But we'll just stick with this for now. So I got this kind of goofy table with the wood top and the metal legs. Let's get a few more super cool things as possible. So in my new paint layer, I'm going to show you a couple of other new things. And so we've seen the brushes here where let's say I want to add little screw bolts or something to these. I could go and paint in something like that, but I wanted to show you a few other cool possibilities. And remember again that we can paint different properties. We can paint what color it is. We can be painting into the roughness. We can be painting into the metal. And there's this last one called normal, which you don't quite know what it is. And this is one of those I want to show you here in a second. So we've seen some of first here, you might not have seen alpha. And these are basically work the same as some of the brushes. A lot of these are goofy. They kind of come from like from like goofy video games. But let's say I just click on fingerprints or something like that, and I have red chosen. Maybe I'll make it a little bit sort of shiny. It's not so rough. So I could go in here and based on the scale of this guy, let me scale it up. Now we have this sort of, so instead of a normal brush, we have it where there's like, so this is how you do if you want the kind of goofy, bloody fingerprints. That's a way to do it with these various alphas. Pretty goofy. You get the idea though. And there's a whole bunch here you can go explore. Some of these are nice just to get, if you just really quickly want to get like a certain symbol in or something like that. Again, a lot of them are goofy. Do they have exit? Yeah, so this is when I made my exit sign. I think I did something like this. Again, this is one possibility with these different alphas. You can import stuff. We're not going to really sweat it with what we're doing. But you can, again, you can see we can get some pretty cool stuff pretty quick. There's also tricks here in terms of other possibilities in terms of you have rotation and flow and all that on your brushes. Again, you can also change the opacity of it. I'm not going to get too nuts into the specifics here. We're just basically trying to get some, basic effects. But this can be super cool for, I particularly like some of the noisier brushes if you're trying to add like a little bit of like dirt onto something. I'm doing red just so I know you can see it, obviously, but, this is nice just to kind of dirty something up. Like, there's no reason I'm using, to have it red here. But anyway, last but not least is one of the more useful ones and kind of the harder one to wrap your head around. I'm going to switch this back to a normal brush just so it's not going to do anything terrible. Okay, we got a normal brush here on top. And I'm going to turn off color, roughness, and metal. The only thing I'm going to paint now is something called the normals. And what this is, and I've made mention of this before, it's a trick that that basically all these 3D things do to make something look 3D, but doesn't actually have, it's not actually part of the mesh. And so we have a whole bunch of hard surfaces to choose from. I'm going to choose a handful of these just so you can see what it does. So let's just say I have let's just pick this vent for now, and I'm going to drag it into normal color. And so you'll see when I go here and just kind of click on the top, I'll change the brush size to something really big, just so you can see it. I go here and click, and lo and behold, all it does is sort of stamp in this thing. And now when I move the mouse, it looks like it's in there in 3 dimensions, but it's not really. It's just a trick with the way this normal map, with the way that the 3D modeling thing is going to reflect light to give it the appearance of having 3 dimensions. So this is a really useful way of, instead of spending all the time to model this, if it's just something really small as a detail, then like common people use stuff like these vents and things, just if you need little details, but not enough. I think I have this too big for my brush is too big. Whoops. Trying to get it. So there are other ways to use hotkeys to make your brush bigger or smaller, but you can see it sort of adds this little bit. Now, granted, right now I'm at 1024, so I'm not going to be able to get this super, but pretty cool, right? This thing does some super cool little things. So this is another way to add little details, and you can see all the different possibilities here. I'm a big fan of these on if you have like cases or boxes or little, like science fiction-y things, that these can come in really handy just to add a little bit of detail in places. Like, right, we could add these sort of little bolts or like screw slots wherever without actually having to model any of this stuff. Right, so you can make, so it looks pretty good. One that's just like this that I really like and probably overuse is, where's the thing? Tools, screw bolt. I'm a big fan of this. I'm gonna double click on it. And basically you can choose if you want to have the color and all that. And again, all these things have different properties. But what I love with this is it makes a little tiny screw. So I don't know why there would be screws on the side here, but I'm gonna add them anyway because it looks cool. So I just click. I'll maybe make 2 next to each other. You know what, let's just put one in the middle there and one in the middle of the other side. Again, this doesn't really, there's no reason these would be here. But now if you look in there, what's super cool is it looks like there's a little bit of a screw. I'm working at a lower texture. I should have set this at 2040-80 so it wouldn't be pixelated. But if we're in our 3D game, it looks like we've modeled a 3D screw there. So some super awesome, kind of easy to work with stuff. You can see there's all kinds of crazy versions of some of this stuff. We're going to have spray color. Oh, they've actually added new ones since I've been playing with this last. Add some cracks this way. Right, there's all kinds of goofiness here. You can get a little overboard with these, but I'll just stick with this for now just so we can see what it all looks like. Last but not least, the next video will be getting this stuff into Unreal.